Celtics, they're playing at 1 o'clock. They are up 3-0 in their series, so it is not do or die for them. They still have a long ways to go, but so far, so good for them versus the Indiana Pacers. The Patriots, their season schedule came out this week. We're going to go all through the games and what to expect for them this year because, that record is looking pretty good, and they should be able to make it pretty far this season. Hopefully bring another Lombardi Trophy. But we'll also talk about Gronk denting the Vince Lombardi Trophy because that was a big talk for a lot of people this week was that big dent in the Vince Lombardi Trophy that Rob Gronkowski, the retired member of the New England Patriots, put into the Vince Lombardi Trophy. We also got Red Sox. They are possibly sweeping. They possibly have a sweep of the first place Tampa Rays this weekend. We'll see what they can do for there. But we'll have a lot of guests going on. We got Anthony D'Alessandro, who's on his way to his parents' house. He will be calling in. We got Cam T. He'll be calling in just a little bit. And Parker Wheeler of the Manchester Monarchs, who last night got the fourth victory of the series versus the Adirondack Thunder and are now going to the second round. So we have a big show going on. And I also want to start off the show by saying Joe Sambo, Manchester's own reggae phenomenal musician, his album dropped yesterday. Please, if you have $9.99 to spare, I know I sound like a some sort of infomercial or something like that, but Joe Sambo's The Wrong Impression. I'll be playing some music throughout the show of his new album that just dropped yesterday. He is down in Key West, and it's an amazing album, and I look forward to playing some of those songs for you. But yeah, the Bruins, man, it is a scary situation for a team that was, expected to go further than the first round. It's a very scary situation that they are dealing with right now, with having to possibly go up to Toronto 3 o'clock today, face off against the Maple Leafs in enemy territory, and somehow pull this game off and be able to come back to Boston and do this. So we'll, it's scary. I mean, this is interesting that the first place team, the Tampa Bay Lightning, are knocked out of the playoffs. Shocking. Literally shocking that they are not. I mean, they got swept in the first round to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Just a shocking revelation right there. Was not expecting that at all. And then you got the Calgary Flames. The Flames, the second place team, number one in the West. They get swept. And now the Bruins are the best team still remaining. And yet they are possibly losing to the Toronto Maple Leafs today. Very interesting. Hopefully that doesn't happen. 3 o'clock. We're gonna hope for the best. But we have you got the Red Sox. They just Michael Chavez, who is the second baseman. Dustin Pedroia comes back way too quickly from his injury and is now injured and can't make it for the who knows what's going to happen here. He might be retiring after this, but hopefully that doesn't happen. Calling in. And always a wonderful call in from the Skype network from the wonderful town of Salem or Nashua. Where are you right now, Anthony?
I'm in Nashua.
You're in Nashua. Thank you so much for taking the time. I mean, we got got Cam calling in just a little bit as well. But, the Red Sox, we might be sweeping the first place Rays.
Hey, take it easy.
I'm sorry. I'll knock on some wood right here on the booth here to make sure that this doesn't happen. But man, for all that's happened this week, it's interesting to be starting the show off with some happiness, knowing that they are doing something right in this dugout and in this locker room. That the Rays have just been looking bad compared to the Red Sox. Yeah,
I mean, the last two nights has been that. I don't know if it was last night. No, it was the night before. That one was a whirlwind. Too bad for Porcello in that game. He pitched a really good game. It's a shame the bullpen couldn't keep it together for him so he could get the win.
Yeah, he got the no decision in that game, and it was unfortunate because he did really pitch a heck of a game. But man, this starting pitching is getting very scary. I mean, David Price has looked good, but now you got Evaldi on the 10-day injured list, and Chris Sale. I don't even know where to go with him at this point.
Yeah, I mean, my date is still like first week of May for him, but yeah, with Evaldi going on, that I don't know. That just because I mean the scary part about Chris Sale is that with the drop in velocity, obviously the velocity's back up, so everybody can calm down about that because he came back out with what, like 97, 98.
Yeah, he did have the fastball back for sure, and that was quite nice.
Again, I think this is all just a slow play on the season for him. Like I was saying in the beginning of the year, that first week of May, I think, is like when everything's going to really start to click, just because, now he actually has live pitching, whereas he hadn't done that for more than 9 innings since he struck out Machado in the World Series. So,
which we'll always remember and appreciate Chris Sale for that for sure. But so far this season, he's 0 for 4 with an 8.50 ERA. Not the Chris Sale that we just signed to an extension and is paying a good amount of money for.
Same with Evaldi.
Yeah, it's interesting that these guys got extensions, and yet they're just doing nothing right so far.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a worst case scenario where Evaldi needs to get surgery, and God forbid anything like the real underlying issue with Sale is that he's just trying to fight not getting Tommy John or something like that, that's like almost $50 million on the DL for like the next year and a half. That's terrifying for me right now.
Chris Sale in his four starts this so far. Yes, he's 0 for 4, but he's only had 18 total innings pitched, and he's got 14 strikeouts. So
well, that's a good thing though, because that means that's the only reason why the ERA is so high, because he hasn't pitched enough innings yet to get it down.
Now he just had his 30th birthday just a few weeks ago. That has no factor in this, right? Are you still sticking with he didn't get enough practice in the off season?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's why I'm like. It's been interesting to see, and then it was a tough week to. I mean, we lost the first 2 games of the season to the Yankees, which is never a good way to start the season as well.
Yeah, that was not a great way. Like, I would have been ecstatic if we could, like, going into that series, if we could have just split the series. You know what I mean? Because it was
yes.
kind of a weird 2-game series. So it's like it's not really enough to like get to know what's going on yet, but then you're out. You know what I mean? Like, once you get the team figured out that you're playing against, then all right, on to the next one.
I mean, the hardest one was Wednesday night's game, which Wednesday night was a great night between the playoffs for the Bruins versus the Maple Leafs, the playoffs for the Celtics versus the Pacers, and then you had Red Sox Yankees. And it all started off well because the Red Sox were up 3-0 in that game on Wednesday before giving up a grand slam to Brett Gardner to lose it 5-3.
Yeah, that was tough, especially with Brett Gardner being the one hitting it.
Brett Gardner, who hit his 4th home run of the year, which is shocking. I mean, there's no one on the Red Sox. I think that we're starting to get some, good bats on the ball, and Ben Benintendi hit a grand slam last night, and
that was awesome.
But for the most part, I mean, to have Brett Gardner hitting 4 home runs already I think he's the leadoff batter. That's pretty. That's almost like Mookie Betts last year.
Yeah. I mean, I think Mookie has 3, so not too far behind. But, yeah, I didn't expect that out of him. But also the Yankees are getting crushed with injuries right now. I'm pretty sure.
Unreal. Yes.
Most of their starting lineup is on the injured list right now.
And you were just texting before the show. You didn't think that the show was going on. I just can't believe how much sports talk there is this week. I said we have to do this week. There's no way we can go without the show.
And happy that this is going on.
Well, thank you so much for taking your time out of your Easter Sunday to make some time for this. I mean, to see Aaron Judge, who's dealing with a hip flexor type injury, it looks like, come out of the game, and he seemed to be in a significant amount of pain yesterday. I don't know if you saw those highlights.
No, I did not catch the Yankees game yesterday, but didn't he just come back from like a quad injury or something like that?
And that's why it's so interesting that he's having this, this early in the season to have injuries. It's unreal to see how many injuries we have. But I mean, speaking of injuries, Dustin Pedroia, what are you thinking on that?
Oh man.
Okay, that's the disgust. I can hear it in your voice of what you're thinking right now.
Hurts my heart. When I went to the game last week, that was like the first game he started in. It was amazing. The play, like the energy in there when Dustin Pedroia came up to bat, and then he got that hit, and then he turned like 4 double plays on his own basically before like the 6th inning too, and it was incredible. And then to see him go down again after only playing like a week, it hurts. It hurts bad, man.
I will say Michael Chavez getting that double last night, that was a great sight to see. His very first at bat in a Red Sox uniform, and he crushes one to center. Had the center fielder looking like an idiot out there, and sets up basically the game-winning run with getting Jackie Bradley Jr. over to third base.
Yeah, that was insane.
He's the number 75 overall prospect, and he was able to get to the Tropicana Field in time for the game. And they put him in the 9th inning, and boom! Next thing you know, he's helping to set up the game-winning run. So it's kind of nice to see. He's he got arrived, and we'll see if he ends up going back. We need a second baseman at this point with Brock Holt still being injured, and then we got Eduardo Nunez, who's injured as well, so he could be an important factor here for the Red Sox for the next few weeks.
Yeah, he had a really good spring too, so I'm glad. Like, obviously, I would like better circumstances, but I'm glad he gets to come up early, so we're not like we don't have him just sitting down in AAA for like the first 3-4 months of the season. So
today the 12:30 game or 2:30 game, excuse me. David Price takes the mound. He's 1-1 with a 3.79 ERA, but he has 20 Ks. But Tyler Glasnow of the Rays, he's 4-0 with a 1.13 ERA and 24 Ks. He's looking for his 5th win of the season already.
Yeah, he was one of the key pieces of that Chris Archer trade last year. That I think the Rays made out like bandits in that deal with getting him and Austin Meadows, because I think Austin Meadows has been really good this season too.
Yes.
And so that's going to be he was always like a really good prospect for the Pirates, I remember. So it's going to be interesting to see him develop in a team like the Rays, where you don't have like, they're almost like the Padres of the East, where like nobody really cares what's going on down there, and you can kind of just do what you need to do without having like the media all over you. You know what I mean? So that's what's going to be interesting with the Rays this year. I think they're going to be another good team like last year.
Well, so far they're 14-7, the best record in the league right now. And the Tampa Rays. I mean, they're a half game ahead of the Mariners, who are 16-8. So the Mariners have a few games extra played, 3 to be the exact number. But then you get the Red Sox 8-13 so far. We are 3-3 at home, and we're 5-10 away from the confines of Fenway.
Yeesh.
Yeah, so it's interesting. We are our run differential. Have only scored 89 runs and given up 128. We are negative 39 in our runs so far this year.
Wow, that's.
But if there's anything to take in, we are 5-5 in our last 10. Which means that we're 500 ball. We just started off the season wrong. So it'd be a huge thing this week if we can get that win and get a sweep, because Lord knows we all need it here for rooting for this, because Cam will be calling in just a few moments from I don't know where he's actually been calling from. That's why it's Easter. I understand everyone's going on their own different ways, but I'm glad you took the time. The Bruins have a big game at 3 o'clock today. I don't know if you're going to be able to have a chance to catch that game at all.
Oh, I will.
Okay.
It's going to be make or break, obviously, for us.
It's
that game was ugly.
Yeah, it's they played basically it's a 60-minute game, right? Unless you go to overtime, and I would say that they only came to play for 1 minute of that whole entire game.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, and they looked okay in the beginning. I mean, it was 0-0 for a while, and then
it was definitely 0-0 for a while, and it definitely was a tough thing to see them get that that goal in Toronto Maple Leafs. They took a 1-0 lead, but goaltender interference or not, Tuukka needs to make sure none of those pucks come into his net, and unfortunately that didn't happen. But from the phone in the car, we got Cam T calling in. Anthony, can you hear? Let's see. Cam, can you talk for a little bit? Where are you driving to?
Just driving down to my dad's apartment right now, and then from there we're going to Nashua for a little Easter celebration with the family.
Man, apparently everyone's going to Nashua. Now, Anthony, talk for just a moment. What time are you going to Salem?
Can you hear me, bud?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, there we go. We got a conversation going today. This is perfect.
That?
Nice. Is Anthony on Skype?
Anthony's on Skype, so that's why I'm glad to know that you guys can hear him and things are all working out here. So that's perfect. I'm glad to know that technology is on our side today.
These are over.
Yeah, a lot of good technical fortune right now.
Very much.
Way to handle all of this at the same time, Kyle. I'm impressed.
Well, I mean, just in a matter of 10 minutes, the show came together, and it's interesting. Cam, I left the Bruins talk for you, man. We obviously it's do or die today, 3:00 game.
Oh yeah.
Do you think that we can muster up these 2 victories? Because the rest of the way to the Stanley Cup, I believe it's in the fortune of the Toronto or Boston series at this point.
Yeah, we'll be playing the Blue Jackets.
Yeah, I think Boston. I think we can. It's just a matter of will they, find a way to win. They already have one on the road, so we've seen that, and pretty convincingly too. I think that was the 6-4 game. So if they can just get the scoring going and not make silly mistakes all the time, they should be okay. But again, it's just a matter. It's definitely a lot harder to do it in Toronto than at home.
Yeah, this Stanley Cup playoffs has just been ridiculous. So you got the Capitals; they won 6-0 yesterday. You got the Blues winning that series. It's been anarchy all over the playoffs so far. So I'm really hoping that the Bruins can figure this out because they got it's just an easy road, and I don't want to see them golfing this early in the season.
I don't know if I'd call it an easy road. I mean, watching the way Columbus handled Tampa Bay, I'm actually really afraid of them. I don't know if we're going to be able to. If they play like they did against Tampa Bay, I don't think the Bruins will win.
Well, we'll see what happens here. But yes, they did win 6-4 on Wednesday night. A little scary. They were up 5-1 there, and Toronto definitely were able to come back in that third period with goals from Austin Matthews and Dermott, and thankfully Zdeno Chara able to get that goal there to help win that game on Wednesday before they lost the other day 2-0.
Yeah, that goal was awesome. I mean, I haven't seen Chara score a slapper like that from the blue line in a long time. So it's always great to see that. One of his signature goals, pretty much.
I mean, it was a great screen by our boy Patrice Bergeron there. Always nice to see Patrice, helping his teammates in any way he can, because we all know that he's got amazing hands and feeds Marchand and Pasternak so well. But I think that's the key to this game today is if that line can get going again. That's where it has really been huge because Krejci's had a good series scoring, but that first line has been basically overworked.
Well, what I think you got to do is I think Cassidy needs to keep Pasternak and Krejci together. It seems like the first line, Bergeron, Marchand, Pasternak, has been kind of stagnant and they're not like finding each other. That they keep passing when it looks like they should be shooting and just like not able to connect on any plays. But when you have Krejci and Pasternak together, they're making plays all the time. And that 6-4 win, that's what the lines were. And last night, the only goal they had was that late goal from Pasternak. Beautiful seam pass right through like 3 defenders, I think, to Krejci, and he was able to put it home. But I think you need to keep those guys together, and I think you need to have either Heinen or Coyle skating on the first line because in that 6-4 when you had Heinen up there, and they looked so much better. They just looked like they had their game back.
Yeah, and the physicality for this series has been interesting thing to see. I feel like with Kamar getting suspended, I thought that was going to give us the upper hand, and so far it really hasn't been the case.
Yeah, I almost think it helped the Leafs a little bit. Maybe he was a bit of a distraction or something. But the Leafs don't look like they've lost a step at all after that. Talk about physical. The last game, in that 2-1 loss, the Bruins had 29 hits and the Leafs had 26. So they're definitely going at each other.
Yeah,
no love lost between these two teams.
Series.
Yeah, I've been able to catch up with as much NHL as I can, and each night has been some sort of shock between the Lightning going down, the Flames going down. It's basically, I think that's why I want to keep this show going today, just because there's so much shock in this league right now that we could go the whole entire show on it, but obviously we only have so much time for each one of you gents today because it is Easter, and we got to celebrate with our family one way or another, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
I mean, I could do like a 4-hour show probably by myself just talking about the Bruins postseason. I always say the postseason in the NHL is the best playoffs out of any of the teams, or at least the major teams in America. And it's just like so much desperation. And this year, this is the first time that both number one seeds have been swept in the first, or not swept, but beaten, eliminated in the first round.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm looking at the chart right now. This is insane. Both the Avalanche, a wild card team, beat the Flames, who was like, weren't they like one of the best teams like in the league other than the Lightning?
yeah, they were.
Yeah, they were the best team in the West.
Yeah. And then the Islanders beating the Penguins.
Yeah, you love seeing that.
Obviously,
handedly too. It
lose. The Stars are up 3-2 in the series. They're another wild card team that can take down a 1 seed.
That's one I definitely didn't see coming. I never even considered the Stars even really a worthy playoff team, and look at them now; they're about to eliminate Nashville.
part of me that
Miller came up during the season and was talking trash to Sagan and Jamie Benn.
What was that? I missed that.
Oh, earlier in the year when the owner of the Stars was basically just like, yeah, Ben and Sagan are playing like trash, like they're garbage, yada yada, and then like it sparked like a whole big thing between like ownership and the players, and then look at them now.
Yeah, actually, I never heard of that happening. So definitely credit for calling out your star players when they aren't performing. Not everyone's willing to do that.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing to do, but that top line of Ben Sagan and Radolf combined for 7 points in their Game 5 win against the Predators the other night. So they 7 points is a lot of points, and that's a heck of a line to. Wolfie, listen to the big dog. You're at your dad's house. I can hear that already. So we that series, they will have Game 6 on Monday with Dallas up 3-2 over the Nashville Predators. So that'll be an interesting game to watch. But obviously, all eyes will be on the Bruins today at 3:00. But are you doing an Easter egg hunt at your dad's today, Cam, or what's going on there?
I think we're just doing like a little brunch. But real quick, boys, I just want to talk about the Bruins special teams.
Yes, go right ahead.
I think that's been a real key to the series so far. I was looking at the last 5 games. In their 2 wins, their special teams outperformed Toronto. So in Game 1, they had a power play goal but allowed a shorthanded goal, lost 4-1. Game 2, they had a power play goal, didn't allow a shorthanded or a power play goal, and they won. Game 3, they had a power play goal but allowed 2 power play goals for Toronto, lost 3-2. Game 4, they had 2 power play goals, allowed 1, and they got the win. And last night they lost with no power play goals, and it was just a complete wash. So I think they really need to be disciplined, not give up silly penalties, and allow Toronto to get the upper hand that way, because 5-on-5, these teams are pretty evenly matched, and it really seems like special teams is what the deciding factor has been. I mean, even down to the goalies. The goalies' stats are pretty much the same. Both of them playing out of their mind. It's just when there's a man advantage, it's tough to really do much about that.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there, and some of these guys are, this is a weird comment to make, but I'm just gonna say it. These playoff beards some of them are coming in very strong so far. So we want to keep those going and looking like a Edelman in just a few weeks.
Yeah, and it's just really surprising, because the Bruins special teams all season had been one of the best. They ranked 3rd in the league on power play and on penalty kill during the regular season, and so far in the postseason, their penalty kill is 14th out of the 16 teams that made the playoffs.
Wow. How is that possible?
Yeah, I don't understand it, but maybe it's just the pressure of playing in the playoffs. But they have to figure something out there and just practice better discipline.
Get that. I mean, you're definitely saying what Bruce Cassidy should be saying to that locker room. I mean, yeah, Bruce was pretty nice about it. It's funny, every year writes its own story. You value it, but this is a whole new group, and we've got to find this way. That the message this morning, there was a lack of urgency in Game 5 in our play. At times it was there, but in general, I don't think this team has reached where it can yet in the playoffs at all in terms of team play. So they're all saying that they can get to the fifth gear, to put it in other words, to get this, keep this season alive here. It's scary.
And in the last game, it was so close. They had so many different chances. I mean, Frederick Anderson has been the best player on the ice. He made in the whole series so far, he's faced 174 shots and made 161 saves. That's
holy smokes,
925 save percentage. And Gretzky's right behind him. He has pretty similar stats. It's just like right below him. And then the last game, Anderson had 28 saves at .966 save percentage. So it's like the Bruins are getting chances and they're getting looks, but they're not putting it in because they are shooting pucks against a brick wall of Frederick Anderson.
Which Anderson said that Tuukka was the best player on the ice the other nights. Because that was very nice to see. He wasn't trying to pump his tires. He was just telling the truth that Tuukka had some great saves.
Yeah, and as great as Tuukka has been, for Anderson has just been that next step up.
Well, hopefully we can figure out Anderson today. It's Torrey Krug said to us, we're all capable of so much more, especially collectively as a group. We have the ability to beat anyone in this league and play at the top consistently. We showed that throughout the regular season. Now we reached this point. Both teams are playing as hard as they can. They've done a good job, but I just think we need to play it up to our potential and think about ourselves, not to worry too much about what they're doing.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I mean, all these players are taking in the punch, but it's, hopefully there's no vodka in this punch or something like that today to get them messed up.
There might be some vodka in Pasternak's punch. You never know.
Well, that Russian man, he's definitely, you might be onto something there for sure. It's so sad. It's but you said it perfectly. Changes might be coming. Nordstrom was a scratch in Game 5, but he scored a goal the other night. Carson Kuhlman, it was a healthy scratch in Game 4 and 5. Kuhlman was skating with their third line, right wing, alongside Danton Hayden and Charlie Coyle in practice, while in the fourth line, Sean Curley, Chris Wagner, and Nordstrom were skating together. So that means Noel Achari and David Backes might be scratches for today's game.
Yeah, I mean, Achari, I haven't even noticed him on the ice, so I guess I'm fine with that. And I like Backes, but it makes sense. He can't really keep up.
Yeah,
he's good to put in there when you need extra physicality, but what they need now is goals.
I've been amazed with the speed of this Maple Leaf team. I mean, Zdeno Chara, I realize he's 41 years old, but they're just deacon and juking him left and right there. It seems to be very easy to get through him and Carlo.
He's a wagon in the regular season, but in the last few playoffs, he's just looked old and slow. He's by far our best defenseman, but you can definitely tell it's catching up with him, and the end is coming sooner than later.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, from just Saturday's practice lineups, obviously, Coach Bruce Cassidy can do whatever he wants when it comes to game time today. But the Marchand, Bergeron, and Pasternak line were still together, and the DeBrusque, Krejci, and Marcus Johansson line was the line number 2. But it's been always fun to see, on the it seems like the penalty kill or the power play, to have Krejci out there at certain points feeding the puck over to Pasternak. Because it should be interesting, and the defensive lines of Chara, McAvoy, Krug, Carlo, John Moore, and Grzelcyk and Stephen Camphor and Connor Clifton are all the lines for the defense. So, gosh, it's hard times here in Boston. We haven't had to deal with this type of sadness or possible sadness in quite a bit of time. It's almost been a year, gents.
Yeah, wow.
I mean,
Did you say McAvoy in the defensive pairing? I don't know if I heard.
yeah,
that.
McAvoy is with Chara on the defensive line number 1. So
I wasn't sure if I heard you say McAvoy or not, so I wasn't sure if they sat him, but
Yeah,
good to hear he's playing. McAvoy and Carlo have been really impressive to me.
he's made a couple. Sometimes he looks like he's doing a little too much with the puck. He tries to make some sort of fancy play, and he a couple times I've seen him give away the puck. But other than that, he's done a good job. He has no problem with getting physical with the Maple Leafs, and that's huge for someone that's only, I believe, 22 years old.
Yeah, you make a good point there. Takeaways has been a big issue in this series so far. Just in the last game. Just in the last game, the Leafs had 18 takeaways to the Bruins 6.
Yeah,
So you gotta really cut down on that.
Yeah, they definitely need to figure this out, because this is just you can't be giving away the puck that 18 times. That's ridiculous. No wonder why you lost 2-1.
Yeah, one game. That's unacceptable.
It's absolutely.
And the Bruins were killing them in faceoffs too. The Bruins won 40 to the Leafs 22 faceoffs, and generally that's a good sign for keeping control of the puck. But if you keep giving it away, it doesn't matter.
Well, Cam, I don't know how much time you have. I do have some locker room talk from Bergeron yesterday. If you have 2 minutes and 24 seconds and you want to listen to some of the things that he had to say at all, but I understand you got family stuff. So give me 1 second. I'll hit play here and turn up the volume as loud as I can for you. Of course, there's an ad first. So give me we got 10 seconds. This ad is kind of clever. They got the mascot shooting slap shots, so hopefully it doesn't come down to that where we need him in there. But good job to
reach out
Geico.
to the advertisers.
Been through a lot of these. Just how do you regain that urgency?
All right, Patrice Bergeron here.
Well, I think it's always about the next game, and right now it's the starts. I think the last game we got away from building the game up. I think we're trying to make harder play that are not there, and I think in the playoffs it's about simplifying and being hard on the puck and winning battles and getting to the net, and and that's what we're going to bring basically. So that's what we've talked about today, and the emphasis is on that.
Butchie said in there that he doesn't feel like his team has reached their highest level in this playoff series. Yeah, how frustrating is that you're just not at that peak level yet in the playoffs?
Yeah, we got to be, and it goes back to that. I think it goes back to the simplifying that game and playing hard and winning the puck and getting to the areas that are not always the most fun, but that's what it is. So I think that's there's many things that can be said right now, but bottom line, our backs are against the wall. We're going to do the job tomorrow.
Patrice, game 2 of the series has been such an outlier to this point. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that hasn't been the style of this series?
Good question, but I think that's a style that you kind of need, going forward. So it's going to get closer to that than the other games that have been played. So, and I'm talking about us. That's all I'm worrying about right now. So, yeah, that's it.
Sometimes, Patrice, that looks like a function of thinking rather than doing. Is it that way when you're playing? You're going less on instinct and you're just going...
Maybe in a way. I think sometimes you overthink the X's and O's and you're trying to, I always think a little too much about what they're bringing to you and the changes and the adjustments they're making. And I think sometimes you gotta, like you said, I guess, rely more on instincts, and that's what hockey is all about. And that's when you probably make, your first play is usually probably the best play. So not overthink stuff.
And right there, Patrice Bergeron. I think that he hit the nail on the head at that last point. They need to worry less about what the Maple Leafs are doing and worry about what the Bruins are doing. You guys get that same assessment from that interview there?
Yep, I think so.
Yeah, so it's definitely I got good feelings about this first line for the Bruins today. Hopefully, they, I see a goal from Bergeron. He is not going home this early.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone knows how to play in the playoffs, it's Patrice Bergeron. So I definitely agree 100% with what he said. And he hasn't been the problem at all. He already has a few goals. So, hopefully they all fall in line behind him.
Yeah, it's and then it's a good day. Besides it being a holiday and stuff like that, Bergeron's up for the Selke Trophy as a finalist. Shockingly enough, again for the 8th.
Yeah, that's like his 8th year in a row that he's been nominated. Something ridiculous like that, 8th or 9th.
Yeah, it's his 8th straight season, along with Vegas Golden Knights forward Mark Stone and St. Louis forward Ryan O'Reilly are the other 2 finalists for the award, which is given annually to the forward who excels in the defensive aspect of the game. Yeah, it's Bergeron. That's pretty impressive. He's been on the Bruins for 13 seasons, hold on. Oh, he's been the alternative captain for 13 straight. I didn't think I was reading that right, but yes, he's been the alternative captain. Yeah. It's just
the Bruins basically have 2 captains.
Yes, at this point, it's absolutely the truth, and I don't know how many times he's won this award, but it's just interesting every year to know that he's one of the top 3 forwards for this award.
Last year?
I don't think he won it last year, but I know he won it 2 years ago. That's why I'm trying to read this article really quickly to see where he is.
I almost feel like at this point, there are seasons where he deserved to win it and then didn't, just because he's won it already a few times and the voters want to give it to someone else. But he's been nominated 8 times in a row. I think that speaks for itself.
Bob Gainey of the Montreal Canadiens, along with Bergeron, and Bob Gainey, by the way, is a Hall of Famer, so that's looking very good for probably Patrice Bergeron for this future. But the only 2 players in NHL history to win the award 4 times. So hopefully, not Zdeno, but Patrice can get his 5th one and beat Bob Gainey in this. Bob Gainey won it between 78, 79, 80, and 81. So he won it 4 consecutive years. But hey, I'll take it. It's just like Brady. If the more Super Bowls you have, it doesn't matter if it's 6 in a row or 6 throughout your whole entire career.
Yeah.
So
6 is good either way.
So yeah, I mean, Cam, anything else you want to mention at all? But while we have you for a little bit more time.
I just want to chime in on the goalie interference call real quick.
Oh, thank you. I was hoping that you had time for that because your thoughts on it.
I think it could have gone either way.
And that's exactly how I looked at it too. It's that's the thing about sports that I appreciate is the refs only have a quick decision to make this, and that's the human error in sports. That's going to be for each team and each official. And they have a very tough job. It's tough when it goes the opposite way of you, but it really was ticky-tacky in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, you did have the contact there right as the puck got shot, and Rask he had one half like in the blue paint and another half like was outside of it. So it's not like he was in a great position to make that save anyways. And also on the second goal, I think he was a little bit out of position as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's just one thing he needs to work on. And usually he's a really great positional goaltender. So a little bit surprising.
Yeah, I mean that's I don't know if it was a stat or it was a Tuukka was rated the worst goalie in these playoff standings, and well, hopefully he can kind of use that as motivation today. Another award.
You saw a stat that said Tuukka's the worst goalie in the playoffs? Right
yeah, out of all the 16 goalies, Tuukka Rask was rated the worst goalie that was remaining in the playoffs.
Wow.
Based on what?
I think it was honestly. I think it was just a matter of I can't even think what it's called. Let's see if I can find it. Worst goalie in playoffs.
You mean the Lightning
this
goalie
playoffs,
who
or you mean
got
like in his
swept?
career?
Wasn't the
Just out of the 16 goalies in this playoffs, they ranked him 1 through 16, and Tuukka was last.
I think Martin Jones has been a hell of a lot worse than Tuukka Rask.
I'm right there with you.
Tuukka's been right up there with Freddie, man. I don't know what those people are talking about.
Yeah, so here we go. I found it. It was a Nesson article. Tuukka Rask, worst starting goalie in NHL playoffs, according to the worldwide network of the 4-letter name. It's let's see here. He's got a solid performance in the Stanley Cup playoffs, but he's been looking at his average. He has a career 9.24 save percentage in the postseason, but Pat Rask's career has been footnoted by his lowest of lows, and there have been a couple clunkers during his playoff tenure in Boston. So,
well, that sounds like they're talking about his whole career.
Yeah, the top 5 that they had that shook out was Ben Bishop of the Dallas Stars, who I believe is a UMaine product. Philip Grobauer of the Colorado Avalanche. Marc-Andre Fleury was 3 for the Vegas Golden Knights. Peter Mrazovich of the Carolina Hurricanes, and Sergei Bobrovsky of the Columbus Blue Jackets was the top 5.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd agree with Mrazek. He just allowed 6 goals last night.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen the article, and I guess I'll have to look at it myself. But like, to say that Tuukka Rask has been the worst goalie in the playoffs, it's not even really saying that he's necessarily been a bad goaltender. We've seen a lot of great goalies so far in this postseason. So I don't know how much stock you want to put into that one.
Well, you got to remember the Worldwide Network did take out basically all their money for the NHL, because that's the I used to love staying up for ESPN2 games, and now basically ESPN is all NBA. So I guess you just take it for granted, but it is an article from April 10th here of Tuukka Rask being the worst starting goalie in the NHL playoffs. Another shout out I want to give to Zdeno Chara, shockingly enough. He has been nominated for the 2018-2019 King Clancy Memorial Trophy, who is awarded to the player who best exemplifies leadership qualities on and off the ice and has made a noteworthy humanitarian contribution in his community. So that's pretty cool that he's doing a lot of stuff off the ice, and being that he's been up here in Manchester for the past 2 years for different awards or different.
Yeah. I was gonna say, didn't you just run into him at the Elliott?
Yes, I did. So that's why I definitely can agree that Tuukka Rask is a wonderful man, and just knowing that I've shook his hand twice now, and each time I have big hands and stuff like that, but it makes my hands look like I'm a 12-year-old girl.
Yeah. Who has bigger hands, him or Andre the Giant?
Oh, I'm going to go Andre the Giant on everything. That man was an amazing person. If you haven't seen his documentary, the amount of alcohol that guy could put down was of amazement. I will say that.
There though, Chara still wins.
I mean, yes, Chara will not be body slamming Andre the Giant. I can agree to that, but
no, I don't know about that.
I mean, one of my favorite Andre the Giant stories was that he got drunk in the hotel bar and passed out on the floor, and there was no one able to pick him up to get him to his room. They just had to leave him there in the hotel lobby, like he was some sort of couch or something like that, because they didn't know what to do with him. There was no way that the firefighters or anyone was going to be able to pick up a man of that size. I mean, it was definitely going to take a lot of weight, and he was. I think in his passing, he was about 500 pounds. So, yes, it takes a few guys, but that's a lot of dead weight. That's not helping at all. And Andre the Giant, he did wrestle here in Manchester as well at the JFK Coliseum.
Wow, really?
Yeah, there's video that I've seen of him wrestling at the JFK Coliseum, and that was towards the end of his run there. So his back.
He wasn't moving great at that point.
Yeah, he was not moving so great, but the amount of people that was at the JFK for Andre the Giant was. I've been to the JFK multiple times, and it's just amazing to see. When there's totally usually about 40 people there for a hockey game. It's interesting to see that there was over 4,000 in there for Andre the Giant.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy to think about that. You know, he could have been just driving down Elm Street or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Just I mean, gosh, and the cars were. Some of them were big, but some weren't as big. So I can only imagine if he got a rental car and he had to get something like a Nissan Versa, how that would have worked for him driving.
Yeah, nowadays I don't think they would have had to just back the Sprinter van.
I think he probably would have been picking up the smart car instead of driving one.
Oh, easily.
I didn't put this here.
Easy to pick that up.
But you know, Cam, do you want to stick with the Bruins, or you want to go for something else for a few moments here?
I actually got to get going now, boys, but it was good to call in and give my 2 cents. I really hope they can figure it out tonight. We've already seen it happen once on the road, and it's just a matter of doing it at this point.
Well, we will find out for sure around 3 o'clock this afternoon, and hopefully we can get a goal early and keep the lead for as long as we can and bring that game back to Boston on Tuesday. So, KMT, have a happy Easter, buddy. Give the best to your family, and always a pleasure to have you on Off the Mark Sports. We'll hopefully talk to you soon.
See you later, Cam.
All right, have a good one, boys.
And there we go. We got, you know, I'm glad that he was able to talk, and he had a lot of good points about the Bruins there. That you know,
Full of a Bruins flash in the pan there from Cam. It's always full of information.
yeah, it's a good thing. I want to get on to I don't know if you want to save more baseball talk for after, you know, or if you want to go into it now. But there's a player that I know you're a big fan of that I literally got to take a moment to talk
Yelly.
about.
Are we talking about Yelly?
Oh, you already can read my brain. I cannot believe that he is crushing the ball this well.
Hit number 12 and 13 last night.
He is so far ahead of everyone in the past that have even come close to the home run record, to know that he is already like 3 weeks ahead of schedule of where the other players were in their home run record streak there.
Yeah, I was watching some of that game last night, and it just looks effortless. I mean, one of them last night, you can just tell that it was a really just bad hanging curveball, and he just took full advantage of it. But yeah, I mean, it's incredible to see a player like this again. I don't know. It seems like I'm trying to think of who else has been like this over the years.
I mean, the reigning NL MVP has not lost a step from last season at all, and he's pulling away from Los Angeles Dodgers' Cody Bellinger and Oakland's Chris Davis atop the leaderboard for most home runs. I don't know if it's something about that park in Milwaukee that's helping him out, or what's going on, but you know, it's really impressive to see how many home runs he's got so far with 13. Just, I want to say, 22 games into the season.
Yeah. I mean, the Brewers are always over the last few years anyway, have been a fun team to watch offensively. They have a very good lineup. I mean, I guess to break it down.
And when did this all happen? I mean, when the Brewers, you had Braun, who was big in the early part of this decade, but before steroids got to him, and it's just
well, let me see if I can pull up. Okay, if I can just do this based off of pure memory here.
Oh boy.
So, Grandel, I mean, he's another good power hitting. He's their catcher right now. He was in L.A. for the first 5 years of his career. They just lost him this season for a 1-year deal. So, I mean, that's another big bat. Aguilar not doing anything this year. He's only batting 145. But last season, he was crushing the ball playing first base. They picked up Moustakas, another big hitter from the Royals. They got him in the at the trade deadline last year. And then, I mean, Travis Shaw. We should know well enough that we saw the power early coming from him.
That one still hurts a little bit for sure.
Still hurts every time Thornburg blows a game.
Oh, come on, that's too soon.
Then Lorenzo Cain, another guy from the Royals. He was both Moustakas and Cain were on that 2015 Royals World Series team.
Yeah, they went back to back in the World. I mean, to get there, never mind winning.
Yep,
finally.
exactly.
It was interesting because throughout our whole entire growing up. I mean, they were good in the 80s, I believe the Royals were for a little bit, but I was so used to them. I mean, I watched a no-hitter get thrown on them. Yes, I was at that game, and I froze my tail off. I definitely didn't think it was going to be that cold, and thankfully my friend did not propose to his girlfriend that game because of how cold it was. But John Lester was on fire that day.
Yeah, that's funny. My buddy always likes to talk about that too, because he was also at that game, and he wasn't there like with like his family or anything like that. He was there with like a friend's family or his girlfriend's family at the time or something like that. And they ended up leaving in the 7th inning. And every time we go to a Red Sox game,
gosh,
he picks it up.
I know that because my friends, in fairness, they're from Florida, so they weren't used to dealing with that sort of coldness. But they knew something was going on. They couldn't figure out what it was, but I just kept getting louder and louder throughout every single out. And my voice was shot that day, I can tell you that.
I don't believe it.
But yes, I'm going to throw out 4 names for you, and let me know if they're doing anything in the league at this point. Lewis Brinson, Monte Harrison, Eisen Diaz, and Jordan Yamamoto.
No.
Those are the players that were traded to Miami for Yelich.
Yeah. I was a big fan of Brinson when he was coming up with the Brewers. I was really hoping that, I didn't expect the entire outfield overhaul of signing Lorenzo Cain and trading for Christian Yelich, so I was hopefully excited for, Braun playing left field and then Lewis Brinson taking over center field one of these years for them, but it didn't seem like that was going to happen, and I don't know. Miami's just kind of a dumpster fire, so I don't know. It's a shame to see some of those players down there.
That's a great way to put it. They're the major league worst, 6-15 so far with just 21 games played. They're 6.5 games back of the Philadelphia Phillies, it's just not looking so good for the Miami Marlins. Derek Jeter is not doing anything close to what he did with the Yankees as a player for the Miami Marlins team.
To be fair, though, I think it's really kind of a slow play, because now, if you're going through their lineup right now, they did trade JT Realmuto to the Phillies this offseason, but Jorge Alfaro ain't nothing to sneeze at when it comes to catcher for the Marlins. I think he's another name that you might be hearing soon. I mean, Neil Walker. I mean, you can tell a lot of these guys just needed jobs and they found a place that would hire. Like Neil Walker and Curtis Granderson, who are all in the starting lineup for this team. Neil Walker was I think he was a starting second baseman for the Pirates a few years ago, and then he bounced. He went to the Yankees and he came off the bench last year, and then Starlin Castro they got in the trade for Giancarlo Stanton, who's probably their best player, but
yeah, I would agree with that.
He wouldn't be the best player on a lot of other teams, but he's also going to be traded this season.
You're sticking with that. You think the Yankees are going to get rid of him?
No, Starlin Castro.
Oh, Starlin Castro. Excuse me. I was thinking of Giancarlo Stanton.
No. He's not going anywhere. Nobody's taking that contract.
that is a pretty big contract right there.
Brian Anderson, another guy who is really good, only 26 years old. Alfaro's only 26. Brinson's only 25. They just signed Victor Mesa in the offseason, who's supposed to be one of those big up and coming international guy prospects. They actually signed him and his brother Victor Mesa and Victor Mesa.
Oof, that's a heck of a name right there.
Yeah.
Well, Anthony, I'm gonna take a minute and 18 seconds of your time and go through the Brewers' home run calls of Christian Yelich as he has hit 8 in 6 games right now or something like that. So let me play this and take a listen to this.
3-run shot for Yelich. Second of the night. He has driven in 6. It's gone. Oh my goodness. Oh man. 3 home runs, 7 RBIs. Well, how many guys on the Brewers team are going to be lined up for early BP tomorrow? He has taken St. Louis out of the park again. Another 3-run home run for Christian Yelich. Oh, man. Number 10.
incredible.
Yeah, I mean, you really don't know what to say that you haven't already said about this guy.
And he has done it again! A record-setting 12th home run in the opening month. Unbelievable!
I've never seen anything like it. I've been around this game a long time, and what he's been doing over the last year plus has been incredible.
I gotta say, Anthony, he's got such a sweet swing as well.
Yeah.
8 homers in 6 games. He's already got 13 in the month of April. Today's going to be an interesting call. He's got Clayton Kershaw problem to deal with in the season finale or series finale.
Ooh, I'm interested to see what that.
Yeah. So to add more sports to the plate today, we got a Kershaw Christian Yelich, matchup here. As I enjoy this a lot. I really hope that he can keep this streak going, and injuries are not a problem, or not really a streak, but just these are bombs. These are not just barely over the wall like a Yankee Stadium. These are just absolutely crushed home runs that you can watch these.
Yeah.
I mean, his home. You heard a lot of these. These are all just 3-run home runs too.
Yeah, I mean, both of his last night, too, were solos, too, which is a shame because he could have racked up some more RBIs. But I don't think he's going to have too much to worry about with Clayton Kershaw. I have his career stats versus Clayton Kershaw right now.
Wow, you pulled those up quick. He's already got 31 RBIs in the month of April. Unreal.
Yeah, so Yelich is 9 for 17 versus Yelich with only 2 home runs and 3 RBIs, but he's batting .529 against him.
Oh my gosh! So Christian Yelich could be getting Jesus. The one downfall, we obviously we got to have a little bit of downfall. He does have 15 Ks so far in his 83 at bats, but that's not too bad when you've hit 13 home runs. You'll take those those strikeouts, but he is batting a .361, which is very, very good.
Exactly. That's why that's nothing to worry about. Because you think of those hitters in the past, like Adam Dunn or something like that, who they strike out 200, or they hit 40 home runs a year, but they also strike out 250 times, and they bat like 205. Whereas Yelich he struck out 15 times, but he's still batting .361.
Wow. Okay. Well,
career batting average of 300 too. Damn.
Again, another stat that Derek Jeter will have a little bit of nightmares from. But I know we've hit the first hour of the show here. I do want to take a moment and give a shout out to Joe Sambo, who his debut album came out yesterday, and I was quick to pick that up. Best $9.99 that you will spend this weekend for sure. It's 46 minutes of amazingness. One of the songs I can't play just because there's a couple swears in it, but he talks about just walking down Hampton Beach, and it's a great song. But I'm gonna play a different song. We've heard How We Do quite a bit, but The Wrong Impression is a very fun song, and we're gonna take a quick break here and enjoy a little Joe Sambo here. So we'll be back with there we go. 420 was yesterday, and yeah, take a listen to Joe Sambo, The Wrong Impression, off his new album, The Wrong Impression, here on 95.3 Off the Mark Sports.
It's nothing to be criticizing. As the wind goes down, let the smoke begin rising. It's a personal choice to be a fool. So pack it up and pass around and listen to the sound of the laughter from the people that you want to be around. Love is found. You want to get down, so start knocking the chin instead of buzzing the kill. I don't want to make the wrong impression over again. Yeah. You don't need to weigh the words in my head. In my head, it's different. Yeah. Ask me if I'm well. I said I've never been better, and I love how you can tell. I love how you can tell. 'Cause regulation never hurt the nation, but cause aggravation when the legalization of that green sensation, it's amazing. Yeah. No need temptation. Whoa, I don't want to make the wrong impression over again. Yeah. You don't need to wait. The words in my head, it's different. Yeah. And the world today will never be so cruel if we only thought through one mind. And society will never be so bad. And the world today will never be so cruel if we only thought through one mind. And the world today will never be so bad if we only thought through one mind. Yeah. Ooh, yeah, through one mind. Yeah. Because I don't want to make the wrong impression, yeah, over again, yeah. You don't need to wait. The words in my head, it's different, yeah. If we only thought the one mind, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Joe Sambo right there with a wrong impression on 95.3 WMNH Off the Mark Sports. Anthony, if you haven't picked that album up, I know you know the guy personally. Music brings you energy, and that I'm ready to go for a run. I'm ready to lift weights. I don't even care what I do right now. I'm just in a good place right now with that.
I mean, I've been into the reggae rock scene a little bit since I was in college, and it was always funny to run into him at those shows that, you know, you think nobody knows about these bands, and you roll up, oh, Joe's there, and then now he's playing with a lot of these bands now. It's kind of crazy to see it all come together.
I was tempted to get him on the show today. I probably still could send a text and stuff like that, but I know that he played yesterday. They're down in Key West right now. He's playing at 420 Fest last night, so I can only imagine that he might be just waking up now. So
yeah, we should totally get him in to play like a song in studio or something like that. That would be insane.
That would be insane, and we can definitely. I'll have my people talk to his people, and we'll try to get this going on pretty soon, because before he gets big, I would like to definitely have him in the studio. And I don't know how big of a sports fan he is at all, but it's okay. Another person that could be into the ganja now that he's retired is Gronk here. Have you had a chance to watch this video of him denting the Lombardi Trophy?
Yeah, I saw that. What a move.
I figured I'd play this as well, just so that if people don't, even the sound of the baseball hitting the Vince Lombardi Trophy is enough to make anyone cringe. So I'll play this, and good job by the New England Patriots to make this video. Oh, I don't know what I just did there, but apparently it does not want to play. Oh, it's going to play again. Okay. Well, it starts off with Matthew Slater.
We were there to celebrate our Super Bowl victory.
Some of the guys were going to throw out the first pitch. Jules was warming up. Gronkowski got him a pitch in.
And it was all fun and games until it wasn't.
A lot of interesting things happen.
Gronk thought of a great idea. He'd play around and get a swing. And as he's lined up, Jules is the pitcher. Gronk standing there, and I think we're all under the impression, I mean, no way is he going to swing a Lombardi Trophy.
a little strange. We're thinking he's not going to swing the bat. He's not going to do it. And literally at the last second, when 11 throws the ball, we see 87 go from a batting position to a bunt.
Probably not ideal.
Yeah, Gronkowski's parting gift.
Sometimes things happen.
If anybody could do it and get away with it, it'd be Mr. Gronkowski himself. He is now left an everlasting mark so that people will never forget that he was a part of that championship team.
The trophy is special, not damaged. Now it has become vintage, is what I'll say.
Oh, that sound. Good job by the New England Patriots production crew to make this video, and you can hear that clink. It's
that must have been quick for them. That sounds like some sort of 30 for 30 that they just put together about.
It's a minute and 40 seconds, and it's not what you want to be. Doink, doot, tink. Tink is probably the best word because that's a straight up metal, silver. I don't even know what the Lombardi Trophy is made out of, but the picture
Apparently
of
nothing strong.
Yeah, apparently the dent in the trophy, as Devin McCourty said, it is now vintage. And Gronk was a big part of that Super Bowl. He got us to that 2-yard line for Sony Michel to be able to run in. So he I guess he left his mark with the Patriots, and we're really hoping that he can come back next year because I know that he's retired, but I'm trusting what Willie McGinnis is saying that he'll get that urge by week 8. I figured we'd go over the roster, or not the roster, but the schedule since it did come out the other day. And very interesting that we start off the season on Sunday night, not Thursday night like usual, and we have to face off against the other team that has 6 championships in the Pittsburgh Steelers.
That coward Goodell just didn't want to see us play the first game again, huh?
You know, every single year, it's something about Goodell just makes everyone in the Patriots hate him even more. It's unbelievable that he, can't put us on Thursday Night Football, even though we're the Super Bowl champion, and we should be raising our banner up there above the scoreboard again. But for some reason, they decided that they want to go with the Bears and the Packers.
Which I'm not against. That's a good
I understand
match.
that's a lot of history in that game, and it's tradition to have the Super Bowl champion as the first game of the year. I don't understand this.
Oh, absolutely. But what are you gonna do?
All right.
Maybe once they bounce Goodell out of there in 20 years, whatever.
Our preseason looks interesting. We got the at the Lions, so we got Matty, our former coach, and then we go to we're gonna have joint practices the second week with the Titans down in Tennessee with Mike Vrabel there, and then
the Panthers too, right?
We got the Panthers. That's our first home opener for the preseason. That will be up here at Gillette, and then we end the season like we always do against the Giants. So. But Anthony, we'll quickly go through this. This is obviously April. We have a lot going on. We'll talk about our new acquisition of wide receiver. But we'll go through the season schedule so far. First week of the year, Pittsburgh Steelers 8:20 game. What do you think? Win or lose?
Sorry, I was yawning. What did you say?
Wow, I see how interesting I am. All right, thanks, Anthony. All right, Pittsburgh.
Hey, I woke up like 20 minutes before you texted me that we were doing a show today. So.
Oh, all right. Fair enough. Pittsburgh Steelers, the Sunday night home opener, raising the banner. We didn't fare well last year when we did this versus the Kansas City Chiefs, but here we got the Steelers for the opening game this year. Do you think we'll win this game or lose this game?
Ooh, against the Real Housewives of Pittsburgh, huh?
Who do not have Le'Veon Bell, who is signed to the Jets, and they don't have Antonio Brown, who is now a Oakland Raider. So we got Ben and Juju. That's about it.
I mean, unless we just don't do anything else with this defense this offseason, once the draft happens, I think we'll have our stuff together.
Yes.
To say it
well,
public radio correctly.
We'll have that for next week and for sure because the draft starts Thursday night.
Ooh, yeah, we're gonna have to do some like draft predictions of how many picks we're gonna trade.
It's a very fair call right there.
We're gonna throttle them. I think we're gonna throttle them. I think oh man, it's just crazy to think of that. In a perfect world, if there's no injuries by the first game of the season, we could have a wide receiver set of Josh Gordon, Demaryius Thomas, and then Julian Edelman in the slot.
And now we got Austin Severian-Jenkins too, who's a qualified qualified tight end for sure.
Yeah, I didn't think he was all that. I didn't think he was all that bad when he was playing for Tampa.
They just had Mercedes Lewis as well, so I mean, they just didn't feel like he was worth the $500,000. Which after being able to save some money from Gronk, we're fine with keeping a $500,000 player.
Wait, you say we got Mercedes Lewis too?
No. With that's who the Jaguar. They had two wide receivers with Austin Severian-Jenkins and Mercedes Lewis, so they had to pick one or the other.
I didn't even realize he was on the Jaguars either. I thought he was on. I know he went from the Bucks to the Jets, but I thought he was still on the Jets.
No, he was on the Jaguars. So, but week 1, you're saying a victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yep.
All right. Week 2, a 1:00 game. This one, I'm predicting a loss in this one. I'm predicting a victory over the Steelers, but for some reason, it's going to be so hot. I don't think we're going to be able to beat the Miami Dolphins week 2 down in Miami.
Are you kidding?
I'm going for it. They're predicting the Miami Dolphins to go 4-11 next year. They do got Ryan Fitzpatrick as their starting quarterback, but as we saw last year, that Miami Miracle, and with it being so hot down there, I don't know if we can do this.
I think Taylor's going to end up winning the starting spot.
You think so?
Yeah. Fitzpatrick isn't like a. I don't know.
He's a journeyman. He's a journeyman. He's been on a lot of different teams in this league.
He can't be a starter though. He's going to have one game this year where he's going to throw 450 yards and 4 touchdowns, and then the next week he's going to.
That's probably going to be against the Patriots.
Yeah, but no, it's not in week 2. That's too early in the season.
Well, he did it last year. I mean, it's one of my favorite videos from last year, besides us winning the Super Bowl, was Ryan Fitzpatrick wearing Deshaun Jackson's clothes out to the interview, the post-game interview. That was hilarious.
Yeah, that was good.
You got Deshaun Jackson coming out of the showers with all of his clothes missing, and to realize that his starting quarterback is wearing all of his clothes was just an amazing thing to see. But week 2, Miami Dolphins, win or lose, Anthony? You're going to go win. So you're at 2-0 so far.
Yep.
Week 3, we got a lot of AFC East teams to start off the season. We are at home versus the Jets.
Ooh.
Week 3, 1:00 game. I'm going to go victory. I know they've picked up some things, but Adam Gase of the Jets just opened up the can the other day, and he's saying that he doesn't even have Super Bowl aspirations. He just wants to beat the Patriots.
Yeah, I mean, the Steelers having Le'Veon Bell never seemed to stop them from losing against us. So I don't think. I mean, depending if Sam Darnold just comes out in training camp and just goes off during the preseason, I don't know. I just don't see it happening. Chalk me up for 3-0.
Chalk you up 3-0. All right. Well, then we go to week 4, another 1:00 game. We got 3 1:00 games in a row here, and we are traveling to Buffalo to face those daunted Bills.
Yeah, that's another win.
Yeah, well, I think that's an easy one. So week 4, you're already at 4-0. Week 5, another 1:00 game. We travel down to Washington to face those dreaded Redskins. Which I don't even know who their quarterback's going to be at this point.
Do a 16-0 thing here.
Well, I'm not trying for it because we do have some tough games after the bye. So no worries. If you want to go 5-0, that's fine with me.
Yeah. I mean, I also forgot that Flores is now the coach of the Dolphins. I thought Gase was the coach, and for some reason I thought he was on the Jets last year and not on the Dolphins. So
so we do have a lot of changes in the AFC East for head coaching. Remember, Brian Flores. That's why I'm predicting that week 2 we will lose to the Dolphins.
Yeah, I could probably see that a little bit more now that I remember that. But
It's still the Dolphins who are not expected to do very much.
I'm still gonna say that we're gonna win. So put me up for 5-0, I guess.
Oh, so all right. So you're 5-0. You're gonna say we're gonna beat the Redskins.
Yeah. I mean, who's their quarterback right now?
Yeah, I don't even know. But
Case Keenum, I think. Until Alex Smith comes back, if he comes back.
Well, then we go to Week 6, another NFC East team, the New York Giants, an 8:20 Thursday night game. So this one's going to be a tough one. I mean, Barkley looked very good last year as a rookie, but now that they've gotten rid of Odell Beckham, I don't know what. I know they signed Sterling Shepard for the Giants, but overall, this is a tough one because we really only have 4 days to rest before this Giant team.
Yeah, and they got what's his face, Golden Tate.
So that's why this. Gosh, I don't know if Eli's going to. If Eli's quarterback, I'm going to go with the Patriots winning.
Well, to put it, I mean, the only reason the Giants were able to beat us was because of Tom Coughlin. Tom Coughlin's now in Jacksonville, 6-0.
6-0. Okay, all right. So Anthony's. I'm still going with 5-1. Then we come back to Week 7, where we have to travel. It's an 8:15 game, so we have 2 late games in a. Wow, we have a long day. Okay, this one's definitely a win. I'm just going to tell you all the facts here, Anthony. We have 11 game stretch between this Thursday night game to then we play on a Monday night game at the Jets.
Oh man, yeah,
So-
I guess another win.
11 days off to rest and get healthy. That's almost like a bye in some ways. Then Week 8, you're going to be very interested in how this team goes and how this game goes in general. We are facing off at a 4:25 game against the Cleveland Browns.
Ooh.
It's Week 8, so they could either be on fire and have it all together or be a dumpster fire. It's be an interesting thing, but Sunday 10/27, almost right around Halloween, the Cleveland Browns. Yeah, so I'm gonna give them a loss. I'm gonna say we're gonna be 6-2 at this point. I'm gonna say the Browns, surprisingly, I'm predicting them to go 11-5 next year.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't.
They're gonna make the whole entire city of Cleveland excited as can be, but this is gonna be their Super Bowl, and they're gonna beat the Patriots here. So it's up to you. All right, so you're gonna go 7-1 at this point on Week 8.
Secondaries too. I mean, they did trade Jabril Peppers in that deal for Odell, but I think Denzel Ward is still, obviously I bring him up every time the Browns talk comes up, but I think he's still such a great cornerback that it might put a hurting on some of the receivers depending on what happens. So yeah, I could see a loss there.
Yeah, all right, glad you can agree with that there. Week 9, our last game before we get to our bye, which is Week 10, but we have to travel down to Baltimore, another late game. This is going to be a Sunday 8:20 game versus the Ravens. Yeah.
I think we'll get the win there just because, I don't know, their offensive style is still kind of weird. Maybe they'll figure it out, but I think what's his name? The quarterback.
Jackson? Not Tavares, but
It's Jackson.
I don't remember what his name is either right now, but
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson. All right, so I did have Jackson. I just couldn't think of the first name.
I think he's one of those guys where he looked really good at the end of the season last year because the league hadn't had enough time to figure him out. I think they'll be able to figure him out by Week 9.
Well, that's a fair assessment right there, and hopefully that can. Oh, that's not the song I wanted. I figured we'd put out a little background music to this because this is very interesting to hear, and I'm gonna pick something different here for a change. Except I don't want country. I might have to stop this. Yep, I'm gonna stop it for now. As we go to Week 10, which is our bye week, we have this one's gonna have a lot of deep pain for a lot of people here, but we have a 4:25 game, so another late game. As we start the season, a lot of 1 o'clock games, but now Week 11, Sunday, November 17th, at the Philadelphia Eagles.
Ooh.
Yes, exactly. That's why I figured out I would just get you a little warmed up about this one because they still have a lot of the same players from when they beat us in the Super Bowl a couple years ago.
Yeah, but you know what? Don't matter. We're going to win that game, too, because Carson Wentz will be injured by week 6, so...
Oh, man, that is rude and mean, but I'm laughing at it at the same time.
Hey,
so
yeah,
I guess that makes you an awful person.
Play a full season. That's all. If you give me a full season of play, I'll believe that you can play a full season. At this point, I cannot believe that he will play 16 games ever.
Yeah, it's a fair assessment. I definitely I have no really confidence in him being able to play all 17 games. When he played up to 14, he actually was MVP candidate, but he didn't make it the whole entire way. So that's a fair assessment. But
Brady won MVP, wasn't it?
Yes, Brady did win the MVP that year. So yeah, so you're gonna go with a victory in Week 11 over the Eagles after the bye.
Yep, and I think Michael Bennett will have a big defensive play against his old team too.
Oh, that's what we really are hoping for right there. I'm really hoping that Bennett can be just like he was with his brother and be able to keep that going, because I didn't like him in Seattle, and I obviously didn't like him when he beat us in the Super Bowl, but I'm hoping that Michael Bennett can appreciate being a Patriot this year and not be any sort of head case such as what he's been known to be in some ways. Sunday, Week 12, 11:24. So we're into almost the end of November here. The Dallas Cowboys come up to Gillette. Dallas Cowboys, who got to the playoffs last year.
Yeah, they don't got it though.
They don't got it. All right. So right now, Anthony, you're on, I think, 10-1 right now for the Patriots.
I know, I'm not a big fan of this so far, but let's keep going.
Week 13, we traveled to Houston, an 8:20 game versus the Texans.
I hope that's a win, because that might be the away game that I go to this year.
Whoa! Breaking news right here.
I'm not 100% sure yet, but it's been in discussion. So I'm going to hope that they win, but I could definitely see a loss there.
Okay.
Although,
it is the Texans, and Bill O'Brien is a good coach. Just Belichick seems to know every single thing that's in his game plan.
Yeah, but the other thing too is, like, maybe if it was last year and they had like the healthy defense of like Brian Cushing and J.J. Watt and Tyrann Mathieu, I could definitely see more of a loss here. But they lost Matthew this offseason. Who knows what the injury status is going to be like by then. But, I mean, I could still see Deshaun Watson, going all... I'm still worried about what this defense might look like next year. So I could definitely see a loss there, depending on how their offense goes.
Well, that's the first week of December here. You're going to finally give them a loss.
Yeah, put me down. I got to put a couple in there. Like, I can't just get 16-0,
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Obviously, we don't even know who everyone Brady's going to be throwing to just yet. So that brings us to Week 14. Hope you're ready for this one. This is a revenge game in their eyes. The Kansas City Chiefs come up to Gillette for a 4:25 game, Week 14.
I think this is what could happen, and this would be the turning point of where the Patriots dynasty is at its end.
Oh!
Not in real life, but just to the media.
Okay.
It's like, oh, whoa, they either lost or almost lost against the Texans, and now they lose again against the Chiefs. Is Brady done?
Well, that's been the talk for how many years now? 5 now?
Exactly. But, with the hot start going into the year, they're not going to bring it up until that happens. So I think maybe that would happen, so I'll put down another L for him there.
All right, so now at this point, Anthony, you're on a 2-game losing streak for the Patriots. So
I think this is going to be a 13-3 season.
13-3. All right. Well, the next couple games, I think you can, you'll probably find them both to be victories. We travel to Cincinnati to face the Bengals in Week 15.
Yeah. Chalk it up.
Chalk it up. All right.
Unless Joe Mixon carries the whole team on his back against us and is throwing the ball to A.J. Green, because I don't know. I wonder what the...
Well, A.J. Green has not had a full healthy season in some time now, so...
Yeah, but when he's healthy, he's insane. So I would give him the benefit of the doubt. again, I like Joe Mixon no matter. I mean, obviously, maybe off the field, not such a great guy, but I think on the field, he's a stud.
Okay.
But it all depends. I don't know. It depends on how high is their draft pick this year. I think they have a shot at getting like a decent
I
quarterback.
know they're top 10.
Yeah, I could see them ditching Dalton, or at least having him back up. If they get like a Will Greer or maybe that guy from Duke or something. You know what I mean? Like somebody like that.
Well, I'm hoping that the kid from Duke possibly comes to. I don't want to. I mean, it's just weird that we've been so dependent on Brady for so long now that it just. Do we want to keep Hoyer? Do we want to keep?
No, there's no reason to keep Hoyer. I don't understand how he's still. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's always been a weird one for me.
Well, that's why I'm just telling you. We got to figure something out. But all right, so let me look at this. The Bengals have the 11 pick. Their needs include defensive line, linebacker, offensive line, quarterback, and tight ends.
So they need a whole new team, basically.
They need a lot here for sure. Going back to the Patriots' schedule here, we have the Bills in Week 16, which I don't have a game time for that. It's all dependent on how their season's going and stuff like that. They might be the late game. They might be the 1 o'clock game. They haven't made a decision on that just yet. But that'll be the week right around Christmas.
Who is it again?
The Buffalo Bills.
Oh, yeah.
And then Week 17, not January, December 29th, the Miami Dolphins come up to Gillette in the frigid confines of Gillette Stadium at that point. Book it. So
yeah,
Anthony's going 3-13 or 13-3 next year.
Yep.
I'm fine with that. That means they're going to be another AFC East champions and another possibly road to the Super Bowl next year. But it's a lot going on. Who knows what injuries? Who knows what the draft is going to bring? That's going to be all next week.
Hey, we're running out of time here. We forgot to talk about the Celtics almost.
Well, I want to throw in some Heavies right now because it is that time. But yes, we do have to throw in some Celtics for sure. I wanted to go make sure that we spent some time on the Patriots here because with the draft coming up and everything like that, I just figured it would be a good time to talk about them for a little bit. Let me see. Let me go with some. I won't throw in too many here, but I found this interesting. You've never been in an ambulance before, correct?
Nope.
I have not. Besides to give video and stuff like that, it's a very expensive car ride to the ambulance. It's going to be the most expensive you'll ever have in your life. Try to call an Uber if they can handle blood in the car or something like that to save yourself some money. But potholes are a common complaint among drivers this time of year. But for one man, hitting a pothole may have actually saved his life. See, out in Nebraska, outside of Omaha, dispatchers were called to a 59-year-old man whose heart was racing at work. The squad had a 20-minute drive to the emergency room at one point, and at one point, the patient's heart was beating at a rate of 200 beats per minute. Basically, he was having a heart attack. During the 7-mile ride, the ambulance hit a pothole. Medics told the hospital, as relayed to the Omaha Scanner on Twitter, that the jolt of the pothole converted the patient's racing heart to normal rhythm.
That's insane. Something
about that pothole saved this guy's life, and he was able to get back to normal rhythm, and he's back to normal life. So props to that pothole in Nebraska for getting that man's life back in order, and hopefully he doesn't have too high of a hospital bill after that because that pothole saved his life. I'll go quick to the Florida story for you here. Hillsborough County, which is outside of Tampa, a Florida man is behind bars after he allegedly impersonated a police officer and pulled over a real police officer. That's right. Matthew Joseph Aris.
Story I've ever heard.
Matthew Joseph Aris, 26, was arrested for impersonating a law enforcement officer. They say the 26-year-old was pulling people over when he had a realistic-looking airsoft pistol and a law enforcement light bar installed on top of his SUV. Deputies are unclear whether Aris has committed a similar offense in the past. He decided to play cop, turn on his red and blue lights, and pull someone over. He had no idea that the real driver was a real undercover Hillsborough County police officer, and deputies did a real traffic stop on Eris to arrest him. So, congratulations to the Hillsborough County Police Office, county's sheriff's office for arresting a complete idiot there.
Yeah, that's I don't even have words for that one.
Yeah, and then I've thought about being a substitute teacher in the past. I've never been one for it. I have no problem with teaching, and I think the kids would sometimes listen to me. But apparently, being a substitute teacher is very difficult in Kentucky, where they arrested the substitute teacher for ripping shots of vodka at 11 a.m. and cussing out the students. That's right. An arrest citation for Brooke Ellen West, 32, was arrested Monday after she admitted to authorities to taking 4 vodka shots at 11 a.m. and yelling and cursing at the students.
Hey, sometimes you just need to kickstart the day, you know?
You'll appreciate this. This is quite impressive in my eyes. Deputies say West, who is a substitute teacher, smelled like alcohol and was unsteady on her feet. She had a .317 blood alcohol content.
Whoa.
Yes, that's right. .08 is over the limit. She was blowing a .317 on the breathalyzer test.
Only 4 shots?
Oh, 4. Barely. I don't know.
I don't buy that as being 4 shots.
Maybe there was more than 4 shots.
4 doubles? 4 triples?
Maybe. Oh, that's that. You could be onto something. I can only go with what the article is saying, but
unless she was like 4 feet tall and like 40 pounds, I can't see that doing. That's a lot. That's a high VAC.
Her mugshot is not the happiest. She does not look very pleased to be wearing that red jumpsuit, and she is not looking at the picture. She does not look like Cameron Diaz in Bad Teacher by any means. But congrats to this 32-year-old teacher from Kentucky for getting herself arrested and making substitute teaching look a little bad in that wonderful state of Kentucky. But yeah, well, the Celtics, they are going to be playing in a little bit. Shocking to see that they are handling these.
We got a triple header again today.
Hey, we got a triple header, absolutely, and we got to keep the Christian Yelich watch going on.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to be the #1 Christian Yelich radio show in New Hampshire.
I look forward to texting you back and forth today to see how he does here because Go ahead. I didn't hear that whole way.
Oh, I said I'll be watching.
Oh, you'll be watching. Okay. Gosh, how many? I had to go to a bar the other night just because I couldn't handle all the TVs going on. My thumb was getting too much work from hitting last channel so much that I just was like, I'll just go to the bar where I can just twist my chair a little bit and watch it from a different angle. So, yeah, that's in my eyes, I really hope that they sweep them today. I get this over with because we need as much time to rest some of these players as we can. I appreciate that we only had one game ahead of them in the regular season over the Pacers, but for some reason we've turned it up a notch in this playoff so far.
Yeah, I mean, luckily they don't have, obviously for bad reasons, but Oladipo kills us. Like between him and Kemba Walker seem to be like the 2 guys that can just take the team and then just beat us on their own. So I think the only reason we're up this high right now is because he's not there. So yeah, we just need to put the nail in the coffin today and just say see you later.
Well, the Pacers, they do have the home court today. We do have to travel over to Indiana, which okay. I was gonna say it's a noon game out there, but that's just a little bit further in Illinois, and I know that parts of Indiana are on Central Time, but not where they are in Indianapolis.
I look at that map every day at work for the time zones, and it's it's such a weird way that time zones work. I'll never understand it. I
will never understand it too because it's not like it's a straight line. It goes into Indiana and cuts back to the borderline. I've never understood it. I can only imagine what that town consists of when dealing with going to school or going to work or something like that.
Man, I would love to get a job where it was like I would still wake up at a certain time, but I'd still have an extra hour before I could get to work.
That's a phenomenal idea. Absolutely.
That was amazing.
Holy, I've never really thought about that. But the Celtics, they won game 1 84-74 at home, which was a low-scoring affair, but the Pacers, they had every single chance to beat the Celtics that day. The Celtics shot so poorly, but it was amazing how much poorer the Pacers were shooting last week. Then we won game 2 99-91. And then we also won Friday night 104-96. So the scoring has been going up throughout this series. We'll see what this game brings on ABC today at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I got the box score up for the game on Friday, too. Jaylen Brown, red hot.
Which is not something I've heard from your mouth ever before.
Yeah, that's. I mean, he has those nights, but Friday night was one of those nights. He went 8 for 9 from the field, and 4 for 5 from 3.
Wow. Yeah, he had 23 points. Let's see. He 4 for 5 from 3 is ridiculous. That's very impressive right there.
7 rebounds, all defensive rebounds.
Oh wow.
And 1 assist.
Huh. Wow. Well, let's see.
Still going. Oh no, never mind. 1 block too.
1 block. Well, with his jumping ability, I'd hope he has 1 block. But Kyrie Irving, yes, he had 10 assists in the game the other day, 19 points. So he's been dishing the ball very well, and it's also been very nice to see Tatum being able to score quite well.
Oh yeah, I mean, with Kyrie only going 36% from the field the other night, somebody had to pick up the slack, you know?
Yeah, Jason Tatum shot 50% from the fields. He only had 18 points, and it was 1 for 3 from the three-point line, but it doesn't matter. When you were able to go 8 for 16, that helps a lot. And to know that defensive rebounding is, that's what I thought was going to kill this team. Maybe not this series, because Milwaukee, I think, will be facing in the second round with the way things are going, but... interesting thing about Milwaukee, it's basically the same exact team as last year, and we were able to get past them in the second round last year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think they've kind of flipped the switch here, so I'm not too worried. But I mean, it'll all come together when we see what happens next round.
And to know that Marcus Smart, basically our best defender. I mean, he's going to be out for another 2 weeks that they're saying that, so we might not see him in that second round. And he was an integral part to shutting down Giannis last year.
Yeah, that's gonna be scary if we don't have him going into that series. Because Chris Dunn, was it Chris Dunn who's on that team that killed us last year in that series?
I believe you were right on that. Yeah.
Yeah, he was one of the biggest players in that series against us, and then they still had Giannis. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It should be an interesting series. I can't wait to watch all of these games today. It's going to be definitely full of some good games.
Yeah,
obviously, two of them being playoff games and one of them being a series finale. So
I did appreciate Tom Brady giving a shout out to Kyrie Irving the other night. Brady showed a video on all of his social media of him working out in his gym and watching the game from his gym. And after Kyrie made that winning shot to basically put the game away, he just looked at the camera and said, "I see you, Kyrie."
There we go.
So
whatever it takes to keep him.
Whatever it takes. I mean, see if I can. I know he swears a little bit. Hopefully the swear's not in this, because if not, I'll have to hit the dump button here. But let's see if we can get this going here. This.
Take advantage. Finish. Ball game. 99-91 the final. Tatum 26 points. Up 2-0 in the series. Awesome.
Good sales, baby.
Oh, it is bleeped out. Okay, good. I was starting to bring it down, but yeah, it's nice to think that Tom Brady is still appreciating all the other teams in this region, even though he's from California.
Yeah, Brady's
I mean, you would think.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, I think we could have a beer with him someday if he or an avocado shake. I don't know what he would be drinking these days.
Yeah, well, we'll have to try and get him on the show. Tom, if you're listening, which we know you are.
Tom Brady, we'll just put this into I mean, I don't know if it's guidelines because he does the WEI, Monday morning quarterback talk type thing. If that goes into, but we Tom, we would appreciate you on the team on this air. Oh, it's also Sunday mornings are a little tough because he's usually playing 17 to 20 games a year on Sundays.
Yeah, and unlike them, we won't ask dumb questions or, verbally assault your family. So
yeah, there will be. Vivian is adorable, and I don't care what that guy has to say. Vivian Brady can talk as long as she wants there.
WEI is really falling off for me. It's a shame.
Yep. That's why we're trying to bring some fun and entertainment back to the radio airwaves. Yes, we're only in Manchester so far and southern New Hampshire, but it's okay. We're doing everything we can.
Working our way.
We're working our way. At least, here we are in Easter, and we still managed to put this show together. So, I appreciate you, Anthony, being able to get up. I know you haven't had your coffee or anything like that just yet.
No.
But you'll get there soon. We only have 17 minutes left in the show. I mean, I will say I did play-by-play for the Monarchs. Well, not the Monarchs, but Central High baseball the other day. They looked very good. Unfortunately, not good enough as they were beaten by the Goffstown Grizzlies. But that was really fun the other night to be able to talk for Manchester Public Television on their baseball game of the week, as what I call it. And then I did a Keene State lacrosse yesterday filming for WMUR, and holy smokes, I finally, Anthony, left when it was 17-0.
Jesus.
I was hoping for a goal from the other team, and finally when I got to my car, when basically they had cleared their bench, is when Western Connecticut got a goal, and to make it, I think the final score was 23-3.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So,
the other thing I was looking at too for all these games today, obviously we haven't had too much gambling stuff going on.
No, we haven't really talked gambling in a little bit. We will definitely have to try to get this in next week for sure. What do you got going? Any thoughts so far here?
Well, I did a little bit I was checking out some of the lines and stuff like that for the game. If you were to put just money line on all three Boston sports teams today, you put $100 down, you could win $540.
Woo! The parlay.
Yep.
I almost did it Wednesday night. It was $100, and you would win $800.
Yeah.
But I saved myself that $100 because the Red Sox were not able to get over the Brett Gardner Grand Slam and lost that game. So, Andy, I think I'll throw in 50 if you throw in 50. That Rays pitcher though. That is a tough one, man.
It's the Bruins that are doing it for me.
It's the Bruins, really.
I think the Red Sox have the momentum to beat this game, but
remember,
Bruins...
Tyler Glasnow, the pitcher of the Rays, is 4-0 with a 1.13 ERA. David Price is going back to Tampa, 1-1 with a 3.79 ERA. That's you're thinking the Bruins are going to lose today.
I don't think the Bruins are going to lose today. It just scares me. But actually, kind of both of them scare me now when you put that in there.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll put the $10 down on the parlay so I can win 50.
Oh, we can do that?
Yeah, $10 for $53.60.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm fine with that.
I'm not a big money bettor, so.
Well, I mean, money's money.
Yeah, but I like to use the money I have in my account. I don't like adding any more in.
Okay, all right. I feel you there. I'm picking up what you're putting down there, buddy.
Yeah, I ain't trying to get a gambling problem going. You know what I mean?
Well, one of my good friends, he definitely has and I wouldn't say a gambling problem, but he put down the Flames and the Lightning with the Flames winning the Stanley Cup, and that's not working so well for him anymore.
Hey, at least he has nothing else to worry about for the rest of the playoffs.
No, he's good for the rest of the playoffs for sure, because he's got nothing else. Ooh,
That's tough.
Yeah, so I have not talked to my good friend Nate, who he's a big hockey fan, friend of mine, and I know that he's was not too happy the other night when the Lightning got out. Never mind. It's Parker Wheeler of the Monarchs. They won 7-1 last night to take down the Adirondack Thunder. He apologizes. He will not be able to make it on the show today. Great game last night. I missed the first goal. For some reason, Anthony, hockey, what time does hockey usually start at?
Like, as a sport?
Yep. Like, if,
I don't know. Like night games usually?
Yes,
They
night
usually,
games.
Like, between like 5 and 8 or something?
Yeah, so last night, I thought the game started at 7. I was wrong. It started at 6. So by the time I realized that I was way late for this game, the Monarchs had already scored a goal. The Adirondack Thunder were able to tie it up to 1-1, but the Monarchs special teams, their power play and shorthanded, were on fire last night, and they end up getting an empty netter and even scored another one when the goalie was back in and ended up winning it 7-1 last night. So
Wow.
Congratulations to the Manchester Monarchs for getting it to the second round of the Kelly Cup Finals. I know you have tough competition, whoever you're playing next, between Blimpton and Newfoundland.
Blimpton?
Yeah, it's somewhere in Canada. I just know that it's going to be Canada versus the United States in the next round, whoever the Monarchs are playing. But they're still waiting to see who their next competition is, because they're still fighting it out, and the Monarchs are hoping that they can just keep fighting as hard as they want to make it easier for them. Yes, excuse me, it's the Brampton Beast. The Brampton Beast.
That's not as good of a name.
Yeah, the Brampton Beast and the Newfoundland Growlers.
Ooh, I like that.
Let me see where Brampton is. Because I've never been there myself. I haven't really been to Canada too many times, but it's let's see here. Google Maps, zooming out. It's just on the other side of Lake Ontario, it's like a suburb of Toronto.
Oh.
So that's a good bus ride. Or you got Newfoundland. Boy, one's very west and one's total east. So I don't know who they would rather face, honestly. That's a tough one. But we'll see. We're gonna root for the Monarchs with whoever they face. But it's interesting to see that they barely made the playoffs. They took them to the last weekend, and now here they are getting to the second round. Anthony, we got to get you up here one of these nights for a Fisher Cat game too.
Yeah, I'm excited that they're back. I haven't.
They got Casey Clemens. That's their big player, Roger Clemens' son.
Another son comes up, huh?
Another son. It's kind of interesting that all of his kids' names start with a K.
Oh, really?
Yep. Yeah, I figured you'd appreciate that all of his sons' names begin with the letter K. I mean,
it's a shame that the big three left the Fisher Cats this year.
The Fisher Cats got the loss last night. They had a season high 14 hits. 14 hits. You'd think you'd win the game, but they lost 12-4.
I think there was a game. I think it was one of the games I was watching the other night. It might have been either the Padres or the Rockies. They had 17 hits, and they only had 3 runs, and they were losing.
Unreal.
Right? Yeah, it was. It was the night that Charlie Blackmon hit that walk-off home run.
Oh, yes. Oh, wow.
I stayed up real late for that game, but that was incredible. But I thought that was crazy. They showed the score box, and it was like 17 hits to like 6 or something like that, and they were losing.
That's awful. That one's a tough one to take for sure, because Fisher Cats are they're the defending champions, but they're not playing as well as they were last year. They're 7-9 so far, so a little bit better than the Red Sox if you put it that way.
Yeah.
But
they're that three-headed monster this year.
They're facing the Trenton Thunder, which I believe is the Yankees AA affiliates, on Monday at 6:35. It is Earth Day as well tomorrow, so everyone get out there and do something nice for this lovely planet of ours. And if you want to take up a New Hampshire Fisher Cats game, they're going to be celebrating Earth Day as well there. So just ideas for you for this Monday. Oh boy. On Tuesday, I believe that Tuesday is supposed to be a gorgeous day as well. It's reverse night, so I don't know if they're going to be playing some crisscross or what's going to be happening, but it's going to be interesting if people are starting to dress backwards there.
I wonder if they'll do the names and numbers on the front of their jerseys.
Yeah, it just says backwards games and promos all night long, so that's an interesting thing to think about. But yeah, Kevin Smith is leading he's their big hitter, but he's only got 2 home runs so far. So they need to get something like a Christian Yelich on the Fisher Cats to really bring in some fans here, because 2 home runs is not going to cut it.
Yeah, maybe Vladdy needs a couple more weeks in Double-A to prepare for the majors.
I am fine with that. That's a great idea. I mean, I don't know if let's see if he's back back playing, because last time I knew he was not. He was still injured.
Yeah, I mean, I heard at the beginning of the year he came into camp like 40 pounds overweight too.
My gosh, he did.
Passion Vladdy Jr., but come on, bud, you got so much ahead of you.
And he's 20 years old now too. He apparently, from a story I'm reading yesterday, he says he's ready to make his major league debut, but they don't want to rush him, and that he might be playing in Syracuse first.
Well, yeah, they have to do that. See, that's what the annoying part is, because they did really fix it a little bit this season when, like, Eloy Jimenez got that contract, and, like, teams started, like, buying players out of their rookie, like, that span of, like, 6 seasons where you're under team control no matter what, with contract renewal and arbitration. And so, like, with the Eloy deal, they kind of, like, bought him out of all those years and even 1 year free agency.
Yeah.
Whereas, I don't know, one of the best and hottest prospects coming up, they couldn't do that for. Like, Vlad could have already been playing. And they're just saying they're keeping him down for, like, developmental reasons, which is, I don't believe that.
Yeah,
maybe with injury, but still.
His potential free agency already being pushed back another year following a spring training injury. Anthony, you're sitting down for this, right?
Yep.
Toronto signed Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at age 16 for a $3.9 million signing bonus. Imagine being a 16-year-old and getting $3.9 million.
No, I could not imagine that.
This article I'm reading right now, he's 7 for 17 with 2 homers, 6 RBIs, and no strikeouts in 5 games for the Bison.
Wow.
5 games with the Syracuse Bison, and he's 7 for 17, 2 homers, and 6 RBIs, and no Ks. That's impressive right there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
There's a report that the Blue Jays might call him up on Tuesday when Toronto begins a home series against the San Francisco Giants, but a later report casts doubt on that. So we'll see if he makes his major league debut this week. It should be very interesting to see, because I appreciated seeing him in Manchester last year, and to know that he could be making his pro career this week is something I'm definitely going to keep an eye on now.
Yeah, he's going to be another big name to watch. Obviously, we have like guys like Eloy and those 2 guys, Fernando Tatis Jr. and some of these guys that are starting to make their names be heard, around the league, which is nice to see. It's good to see all the rookies, actually hitting the ball.
This is the call from the Buffalo Bison for his home run that he hit on Wednesday, which was estimated at 441 feet.
Center to devote so much time. Guerrero goes after the first pitch from Pointer and hits it high in the air to deep left field, up over everything. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. blasting a solo home run into the parking lot here at McCoy Stadium. And the Bisons grab another run. It's now 8-4 Buffalo here in the 4th.
Wow. That made a different sound off of his bat.
And if you didn't catch that, McCoy Stadium is in Pawtucket, which is the Red Sox affiliate, the Pawtucket Red Sox. So he's already doing damage against the Red Sox in this way already, blasting a 441-foot home run.
Bobby Pointer too. World Series champion Bobby Pointer.
Yeah, so that's why I figured you'd appreciate this video of hearing what Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is already doing before he makes his pro career. Just the camera guy. I mean, I have no fault in him. He's doing everything he can. The ball's lost. The camera guy cannot find it in the air in this video.
Yeah, I saw that video. I couldn't even find the ball myself.
So last year, he hit 381 between Manchester and Syracuse, 20 home runs and 78 RBIs. Yeah, Vladdy Jr. is unlike his dad, though, where he had 37 walks. He is not chasing balls left and right like Vladimir Guerrero was very known for in his major league career. But he is a Hall of Famer, and we'll see what Vladdy Jr. can do for the rest of his career here. It should be very interesting for us to watch because we did go to a game and see him last year.
Yeah, I wish we could have seen him some more, but I think Bichette's doing pretty well right now too. Yeah,
I was, we only have so much time here. I'll definitely have to keep looking up for this because the Syracuse Bison, which used to be the Buffalo Bison. I remember going out to a game when I was very young, or at least I was impressed with seeing the stadium because, when you're at Bison. AA. I'm trying to type it in, but nothing's coming up. There we go. I finally found the Buffalo Bison. I don't know why they're saying he's going to called up from. But yeah. So far the Buffalo is not doing so well, so they might want to try to keep him on that team because they're 4-9 so far.
Hey, I mean, all three of those guys won the league last year. Maybe they can do it again in AAA.
That's that's a great point. They definitely have the ability to. Because you got to remember they won in AA or in Single A the year before that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they've gone 2 years in a row with winning a championship.
That's incredible.
Kevin Biggio is
talking about the Blue Jays minor league team, but
Yeah. A lot of these players, yes. Kevin Biggio is batting .439 so far in AAA.
Yeah, maybe it was him I was thinking about. Yeah, that's awesome.
But, yeah, we got to end this show a little bit now, Anthony. Unfortunately, I would love to keep talking. We'll be back next week for sure. Yeah, we got Bruins on at 3 o'clock, Celtics on at 1, and the Red Sox are in there as well, hoping to get the sweep of the Rays. We'll have more Fisher Cat, Monarch, and everything else going on in the future. I'm going to hit the closing music here. It's been, thank you, Anthony, so much for taking the time out of your Easter morning to come do this show. I definitely appreciated you being able to talk, as I was going to have to do this by myself, and I was kind of looking, I was a little scared of it in some ways. So,
Jelly home runs just made me really want to do this today,
The morning show with Peter White will be off all week as it's vacation week. Matt in the afternoon, Matt Connerton Unleashed will be off as well, but we'll be back next Sunday for sure for Off the Mark Sports and 95.3. It's been a pleasure. Happy Easter, everyone. We'll talk to you later.
See ya.
Manchester's radio, broadcasting at 95.3 megahertz frequency modulation from the top of 1000 Elm Street. Our studios are located at 1045 Elm Street and licensed to Manchester Public Television Service in Manchester, New Hampshire, USA. Contact us by email at wmnh953@gmail.com or through our website at wmnhradio.org.
This is 95.3 FM WMNH, and you're listening to Making a Difference, programs by organizations in Manchester for Manchester.
You are listening to Through the Stage Door with the Majestic Theater on WMNH 95.3. We're a bi-weekly program that celebrates what's happening on stage at the Majestic Theater, as well as the musical sounds coming from the Ted Herbert Music School. For more information about the Majestic Theater or Ted Herbert's, you can call us at 669-7469 or visit us on the web at www.majestictheater.net or www.tedherbert.com. My name is Robert Dyan. I'm the Artistic Director of the Majestic Theater and Administrator for Ted Herbert's. And in the studio today we have cast members from our upcoming comedy production of Dearly Beloved. So we want to welcome Emily.
Hey, everyone.
And Teresa. Terry. Called you Teresa. Hi.
Hi.
And Catherine.
Hey.
All right. I have these blank looks on my face all of a sudden. I don't know why. Sorry, guys. We're here talking about Dearly Beloved, which is a Southern fried wedding comedy happening on the Majestic Theater stage Friday, April 26th, Saturday, April 27th at 7 p.m., Saturday, April 27th, Sunday, April 28th at 2 p.m. And this show is located at our Page Street Theater, new theater we opened a couple years ago on Page Street, 880 Page Street. If you don't know where that is, Page Street between Hanover Street and Candia Road. And I always say, depending on how long you've lived in town, if you remember where Angelo's restaurant was, well, that was